home, local leaders and San Diego's congressional delegation are celebrating that hundreds of millions of dollars have been directed at fixing the Tijuana sewage crisis, which is now worse than ever, we're told. $300 million has now been earmarked for that fix. This is all part of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. KUSI's Ed Lenderman has more.
No question, say 4 local congresspeople and 2 local mayors after decades of Washington turning a blind eye to an unprecedented sewage crisis. The 2 lawsuits that include several local cities, the Port District, and the state, citing violations of the Clean Water Act, finally got the attention of the federal government. But it was the window provided by the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement that got the money necessary to put a real dent in the issue. And according to those gathered here at Chula Vista's Bayfront Park, it was 49 District Congressman Mike Levin who helped make sure the money for the Border Water Infrastructure Program, or BWIP, involved an amount that would make a difference in the Tijuana River Valley.
In past appropriations, the BWIP program has received as little as $15 million a year to provide border water infrastructure to the entire U.S.-Mexico border. And believe it or not, in the President's fiscal year 2020 budget, no money was included for the BWIP program.
Having said that, everybody agrees there's going to be very close scrutiny on the money being spent as intended. What's more, fast-tracking the infrastructure, i.e. waiving something like an environmental impact report that can take years, only to come back and say, yeah, there's sewage in the Tijuana River Valley. We also note, even though the language in the agreement is specific to the local crisis, 2 EPA regions are involved in the program, and the other includes Texas. That led to this exchange with Congressman Scott Peters.
Just for perspective on your question, Ed, in the 90s, Texas had problems that were like this, and we spent hundreds of millions of dollars as a country to help them, as we should. Now we have the bigger problems over here, and we think that that's justification for this.
We also ask about the 2 lawsuits. All parties have agreed to stay them, we were told, pending the fast-tracked building of a diversion and treatment facility in the valley. Finally, there is the issue of Mexico doing its part, and we don't mean Tijuana or Baja.
Their budgets are actually quite small. The way the tax system works in Mexico, most of the money goes to Mexico City. And so then it's federal dollars that have to flow in. Now, there's a mechanism under the North American Development Bank now for Tijuana and Baja California to draw these monies down. That's why they have an opportunity here. But if we were just going to rely on Tijuana and Baja California, they don't have the money. Just frankly, they do not have the money. That's why it was so important to get it in an international treaty when Mexico City was involved, because otherwise working with Tijuana, who, again, they don't want polluted beaches either. They have their citizens in the beach. They don't want polluted beaches. But the reality is most of the money goes back to Mexico City. Now they have a mechanism to draw it down, and what we've told them is you guys have to be as aggressive as we have been on this side of the border. We've been very aggressive and, of course, worked together. You guys have to do the same thing if you're going to fix this problem, because the problem affects you guys too.
In Chula Vista, Ed Lenderman, KUSI News.